You may be right.
It's watching Alan Greenfield on Higher Side Chats.
I'm confident of nothing.
And
However,
he basically,
that said, my guess is
it's really interesting.
significant work
Look to me anyway,
that
because
is being done is so ethereal, involving synchronicities, involving.
I just gotta make this video quick, so excuse the sketchiness. But he mentioned something from about 38 minutes 30 seconds, or about 39 seconds in on that recording, and it basically, he puts it in a nutshell how what I went through with Dexter at all. I want to email Alan Greenfield because he mentions that it was some time ago, and but I want to know the names of these people because because he mentions that they're linked to, well, that they're ex-members of the trologists. He also mentions something quite interesting, is that when...
Would you make any changes or addendums today?
Did he say Scientology then?
I wasn't aware that I had been out of astrology when I...
Oh no. But, oh shit, I said that word, didn't I? No way. That's funny. I'm a bit like this. Like I said, that humour is the bit that can get you through this. And I've said that all the time. I mean, it really has helped try and explain this to people, because it's so funny. And, well, it is though, isn't it, really? Think about it. Not being weird either. Consolidating everything. My flat's looking immaculate. It's amazing. Been doing painting as well. Just doing this, keeping up with this, what's it called? Isolation. Interestingly enough, right, when I first started, I'm going to go on one now in a bit. Well, not a bit, just... I took about 14, well, it went on over 14 days, it went about 16 days of isolation. And I was challenging myself, and also in conjunction, it kind of manifested in the physical, and I was challenging other people as well, who'd, I mean, yeah, they were these people linked to this cult, yeah? Because I recognised what they were doing as not very good, yeah. I've got other videos on this. Of course, it's very difficult to explain to anyone. I've explained this in other films as well, how, because of these people and their associations with, just getting harassed and stuff like that, right? So people just don't want to hear about it, really. And then you really do find out who your friends are as well in that circumstance. And then, kind of went on for years. But I did an interesting thing, and that is that I recognised a thread, and I was talking about the thread, and I've always been on about the thread, and it was something which was positive. It's wholesome and positive, it's, no matter what people may think, because I know that people most likely have lots of different things to think about my intentions of doing this. But it's just, I knew that this was, because of the thread, how thick and vivid it was. I knew, and I had the evidence as well, to kind of to put down chronologically in front of someone and say to them, tell me if I'm wrong. And they would find great difficulties, me selecting that word, and in trying to say that I'm. It's not about being right. It's just that there's a pattern here, and the pattern is to inform or even counter the darkness going on. Honestly, I'm not joking. And these dark magicians, as Dexter has been labelled by many people, and the spell casting sort of thing as well, it's interesting. That's really interesting. Of course, at the time, I didn't know anything about that they were involved with Scientology. So that means that and you know that they're ex-members and stuff. This must be known then to the community of ex-Scientologists, because that gets really sketchy. If they've got, I mean, I knew that he had some sort of weird, alluring. I mean, they basically he groomed me with interesting, wacky stories. Really, I knew nothing of these people, nothing. To me, it was like an old codger living out in Arkansas, rural Arkansas, in a shack, making interesting organites, you know, all these different sort of shapes and stuff, you know, like with lots of these inclusions in them. And he would put programs into them, program them. And there is it's like masking. It does mask potentially what it is true though as well. For instance, if you get resin and you expose it to a sound frequency whilst it's curing, yet you fix that frequency in the resin, so it'll vibrate at that frequency. So if you find out the frequency of certain crystals, you can actually imbue a frequency into resin as it's, you know, like polyester or epoxy resin, because it's actually organic, believe it or not, polyester and epoxy resin. A bit of a resin specialist. It uses an organic chain, like long sausages. It's organic in nature, right? So anyway, when it cures, it fixes this frequency in it, and you can test this as well, you know, with different instruments. But you can just use the freezer. I'm going really off on one now. Really going off on one. Interesting guy though, that Alan Greenfield. I'm going to I'll drink a bit and email this guy, passing my links, you know, because he's possibly the only person I've come close to this experience speaking on the internet. Yeah. Interesting how the interviewer didn't even go any further on that, like, so, you know, on that cult group thing. But yeah, then again, you know, there's got other things to talk about. But he is talking about essentially what I discovered. This Alan guy, and that a lot of it is pure fiction, just to cover up something else, which is it could be just as wacky. But quite often the cover-up stories are more exotic and more flamboyant, more ridiculous, more mind-boggling than the real thing. And of course, they really do weave a continuity with it. So people can get engrossed in this subject of either aliens or, you know, there's research, basically, into red herring areas, because the government couldn't give a shit about that. People researching shit like that. They don't want people to, and of course that's why the occult research is so highly taboo and considered, you know, anyone does a bit of that is going to turn into a demon and stuff like that. And it you know, it is rampant, that way of thinking in alternative media, and I recognise this as well. I recognise that. I thought that, I mean, it was pretty weird why there was such. I always considered it weird how Aleister Crowley did get such a bad name. You know, not saying he's he's great or anything, but they went kind of a bit OTT on him, didn't they? Like over the top in scaring people away from looking in any further on this guy. And you know, obviously he's involved with certain other people, and this was, I mean, it's inevitable that it was come out, but of course they saturate the masses with these scare stories, you know, and like I said, not that this guy was, I mean, Aleister Crowley, I'll call him Aleister. It's like he was nothing like what this other guy learned from him, maybe. Yeah. So, and when I first initially did this kind of demonstration, living here, giving out my address and stuff, with that mad window upstairs. And one morning I woke up and I was getting really short of breath, really felt like I was going to have a heart attack. And it was just from the anxiety of knowing what I knew, and it was all kept boiling up. So one morning now I woke up and I woke up really gasping for breath, and I thought, this is going to be my last day on earth. And I was looking around, and it felt like I had a lick of DMT, you know, not breaking through, but just having, you know, just tweaked by DMT, and I was like, and I thought, am I dead? Am I a ghost? But I was like, no, I mean, but it was, and I thought, wow, perhaps the whole world is upgraded, and I really did think that. And I came down here and I sat in the chair, and I wasn't sleepwalking, because my mate was here, and he was asleep on the couch. I was actually putting someone up for them, and I came around and I sat in the chair, and I remember saying these things to him, these words that I kept on repeating them, and I like as if I had to remember them. So I said them to him, and he kind of woke up and he forgot. He remembers me in the chair, but he doesn't remember what I said and stuff. But these are like the aha words, which everyone was like, aha, aha. And it was almost like, this sounds weird, right? But it was almost like my ranking. Is it ranking? It's not spelt with a W there. Ranking of not such degrees or understanding were being clarified and badged in, you know, like almost stamped in. You know, like Boy Scouts get stamps for what they've done in their Boy Scout experience, you know, like whether they've got at rafting or whatever, they get a badge. It's a bit like that, and I was getting and I was like, the aha was like, it was showing me the experience that I had, you know, was quite not that long ago, in order to gain that badge, you know, and it was like, it went on like, and so, you know, I went back upstairs and I lay back down, and when I woke up later, you know, it was like back to normal again. And it wasn't a dream, because my mate saw me. And I definitely know it wasn't a dream. And but it also said to me, that experience, that there will be like a kind of a lockdown, in that I looked out the window, and it looked like it, just as beautiful, and you know, like on DMT, we throw a little lick of DMT and it goes like all jewel-esque and stuff like that. It was like that with all the patterns and stuff like that. It was like that when I looked out the window. But I have done that on, DMT, and as well, and I've walked around the block just to push, just looking at things, and it seems like there is a certain area where if I go beyond, even just walk, it could get quite nasty, because I've done, it's in places which is not round here outside, and it's always been a bit, I do prefer the comfort of my own home, where doing a nice big hit, but even just the pre-breakthrough sort of thing, it can get like, I did one, it's another story. What time is it now? 50. A story of the one I did at the bottom of this graveyard. I was just walking to the field to do it on the field on a sunny day, but like it was a really hot day. So at the bottom of this graveyard, there's no graves around in this area. It's dedicated for the graveyard though. The graves are further on. It's like new. It's just grass ready to be dug, type of thing. And there's a nice tree there as well. I sat under this tree and did it. I'm going off in the one. I'll leave that for another time. But yeah, I didn't have a good time on that. It's pretty mad. But like, everything is a resonance with what's going on. And I knew, the reason why I was going so mad at people, or so intense, was just, it was, like I said all along, it was for the greater good. Because I knew that something was going to give. And that I'd effectively caught quite a few people doing some things. Deep things. I guess you call it, these are like the deep state cabal people. And that they're linked quite intimately. As in, they've spent a long time in this cult group, of which their member was once so-called friends, apparently friends with Aleister Crowley, but I mean that's debated quite a lot as well, because they do mask, the stories mask the reality, and according to Aleister, he didn't like Hubbard. Interestingly enough, though, and he never met him. Like some people say he never met him, but some people say that he sat in on a few of their rituals. Like Hubbard sat in. But like, did I say Hubbard? Excuse me. Don't really phlegm. That's been had a bit of smoke, haven't I? But yes, on the email, or at the beginning of this, I was talking about what I call it, the Gold Road, 14-day isolation, where you kind of like deal with a lot of things. And I filmed it, I documented that, but that was the kick-off point as well. I didn't realise it, I wasn't intending to do that. My kick-off point was when I woke up. And it was, I knew that I was having like palpitations again, and I thought, I'm going to fucking die. So this was like another time. It was just getting that so intense. Sorry, I talked about that, the sort of the DMT experience without the DMT just then. But there's many times where I would wake up in a panic. And a lot of times would be 11:11 as well. It was like, fucking no way, man. It's very weird sort of stuff. Like, people started talking about it and stuff. But I knew that I had to do something, and I knew that it was linked to my experience with these black magicians. One of them being Dexter Ator and his posse, and what they were involved with and pushing into the psyche of normal people. It's kind of alien based, yeah. Well, it does involve alien entities and multi-dimensional and stuff, and it's fucking absolutely ridiculous. It really is. It's it's not, it's complete fiction. It's a mask. I knew it was. It's a mask to such an extent that it does ridicule and belittle the masters, the real ones, the real McCoy. So I'm talking about all your favourites. Jesus, Satan, Thoth, all the gods, whatever you want, good uns, bad uns. It would almost like obviously belittle them. Have no qualms with doing that. Under the guise of, it's much better because they're intergalactical sort of based sort of type people there. So I found this very interesting, and how they could control them as well. So if anything bad happened, they could blame it on whatever entity in some way. It was all very wacky, really wacky. And of course there was it was kind of mixed in with sort of healthy living, and there was a section on it devoted for Asperger's people and autistic people as well, because apparently they can be psychic. So that was the CIA had been recruiting Asperger's and autistic people for a while to work on their psychic projects and stuff. That was the explanation of why the what do they call it? There's posts and there's threads and there's topics and shit. And that was a topic, a main topic that would be discussed. And it seemed that would be their get out clause then, because a lot of them were on it. They did an Asperger's test, or autism test online. Many of them were all borderline, sort of, if not fully Asperger's, by this test. And I even made a post saying, "Bugger me, is this an autism? Is this an autism forum then?" I thought it was like a truth seeking forum, a bit pretty deep level, you know what I mean, organite sort of thing. And I said, "Bloody hell, am I the only one here that's not Asperger's?" That was earlier on. I just knew nothing of their tricks. Nothing. So they obviously knew that I was sussing them out. But I don't know why I did think, why the fuck are they picking on me? And I know that it goes deeper, and it goes into the quantum. And then it obviously goes into the people that you've met, engaged with all your life. And how this thread is thick and vivid now, because certain people do something, and not necessarily for good or bad, but just to get you on the path, on that eventual path, of which I went through just doing the organite. I did for years before these people got onto me, or I got into them. I emailed Dexter first of all, but there was Andrea who contacted me back saying, "Do you want to be a member of the forum?" And then I had all that weirdness then with, the people turning up and shit. Right, turn it off now, otherwise it'll disappear off my phone. But I'll come back to you shortly.